Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle, and welcome to Chasing Legends. Welcome back to Chasing Legends. I'm Wayne Tuttle, and I'll be your host here this evening, this afternoon, whenever you choose to watch this. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the bell for notifications, and leave a comment if you will. Also, get over to pick up one of our new shirts. We have Legends Superstition Mountain t-shirts, and we have Dutch Hunter Rendezvous shirts for this fall. So go to represent.com or hit the link in here and go on over there. We got a special on everything. We're not looking to make a dime off this stuff. Just go pick up a t-shirt. You know, they're pretty cool looking, and we wear them. Well, I wear the Fireball, but we'll be wearing them. Okay. So anyways, this week I want to talk about something upcoming in about the next 12 weeks or so. October 23rd, 24th, 25th. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday of that month will be this year's 16th annual Dutch Hunters Rendezvous. This all started in 2005. I'm going to do a little bit of the history on this and then talk about kind of where we're at and what we're doing this year. In 2000, it was probably 2005, getting into the spring and the summer, and on the Lost Dutchman forum where we all gathered, everybody started talking, and there was some stuff I believe was in Ripples of Lost Echoes, Bob Ward's book, and they started talking about these buttes and these markings on these rocks and some different stuff. And they thought, well, let's all go out, because everybody was saying, well, they were there. Did anybody see it? Does anybody know exactly where the site is? So the idea was born of a bunch of guys who were on the forum who were Dutch hunters, who'd been around for a while. Some guys knew each other. Some guys were interested in just kind of meeting up with everyone. And they decided to get together, bring out their campers and their RVs and their trailers, and bring out some ATVs, and then go trekking around and check some stuff out and check all this stuff out. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of a research thing. And they came out, I think 12 to 15 people showed up, including Joe Roboto, Greg Davis, Roger Newkirk, I know, was there on that first one. There's a number of people came out, and everybody had a good time. Joe and Carolyn kind of acted a bit like camp hosts, and so they decided the next year we might as well do it again. The name, I know there were a lot of different names thrown out. People were coming up with different ideas. I always thought it was Kevin Noonamaker. Kevin said he wasn't sure if it was him. He said that might have been one of the names he threw out, but I always attributed, I was pretty sure back in the forum that Kevin was the one that suggested that, but I think the consensus eventually just fell to Dutch Hunter Rendezvous. So there was about 5-6 different names thrown in the bucket, and that was the one that came out for that first one. And it was the first annual. I know Joe Roboto was really big on doing that and trying to get all these guys, because of his uncle, Chuck Roboto, and trying to get all these guys and bring some of the old timers in to camp and see everybody could just kind of camp out, hang out, and tell stories. So the second year came along, and we got ready to go. And Randy Wright and myself talked to Greg Davis, and we said, you know, last year they were out camping and all. It'd be a lot easier if we could find someplace more permanent, because people were talking Lost Dutchman State Park. Hey, is there a place at Goldfield we can go? How about here? Why don't we just meet somewhere off of Peralta Road? And we thought, well, if you're getting 30, 40 people, you need some place kind of a little more established that you can kind of sit down, have some camping areas and all that. The Dons Camp was a perfect place. So we talked to Greg. Greg checked with the Dons. At that time, they were going through getting their lease worked out with the Forestry Service. And so because of that, it worked out great for them to have an annual event that would be coming in each year to be established to be using the Dons Camp every fall. So we went out, did a little cleaning up, got things together, and then we went out, and that was the second annual Dutch Hunter Rendezvous. Joe and Carolyn cooked up a bunch of food, kind of shared it with everybody. And there really wasn't much else going on. Everybody was camping. One of the problems is once you start bringing these guys out, I don't even think it was just old wounds open up. It was just everybody has their difference, and I don't really want to hang around with so-and-so and so-and-so. And everybody kind of collectively stayed on their own. So there were a group of us that were moving from camp to camp to camp because people wouldn't leave. So I would spend time with Joe and Carolyn and all. And I remember trying to remember his name, Harry with Team Fever at the time. They had their little group down in another area, and we'd go over sit with them for a while, and then we go up, and there was a couple guys up the hill, and then there was another group over here. Well, during this process, Friday night, it didn't seem like such a bad thing. We're camping. Saturday, the problem got Jack San Felice came up. He had just put out Silver was When Silver's King, and Jack was walking around talking about his book. He had his book. He was trying to maybe sell a couple books, talk about his book and the stuff involved with the Silver King. And one of the problems becomes Jack's running to this camp, does like a 20, 25-minute little deal, and then he has to go up to this camp. And he's going up and down the hill and clocking all over to each individual camp. And Randy and I eventually just said, you know, we're kind of a little out of breath doing this, walking all over, talking to everybody all night, you know. And God, this is just like wearing Jack out. And we thank Jack for coming out because he kind of brought in kind of an entertainment quality. And we left the rendezvous and everybody went back to talk. And the idea was, what can we do? And a couple different groups that were at the rendezvous came over and talked to us. And we weren't looking to step on toes, but they talked to me and Randy. Said it was cool you guys got us, you know, got with Greg and did all this, but everybody gets along with you guys and you guys don't seem to have any problem with any particular camp. So would you guys kind of piece this together so we can have something organized to speak from and kind of like necessarily rules? Well, when you talk to me, I don't know how Randy felt about it, but I'm always the guy who says, why do we need to have rules? Because that usually means there's less fun. So Randy and I came up with a couple principal rules. One was leave all your bags at the gate, and that was kind of the Don's thing. We thought, okay, come into the Don's camp. They're opening their camp to us for us to all hang out for 3 days. So just leave your baggage, any of your problems, any of your woes. Don't come out if you want to, you know, we're not here to pick fights. We're here to hang out and have a good time. Rule number 2, have fun. There's no rule number 2. And that was it. And just before we get to the rendezvous, Randy and I thought, we asked Jack San Felice, would you come out and do that presentation, more of a presentation type deal for everybody in the big Ramada? And he said, yes. So then we said, one thing we want everyone to do. One time while we're all there, everybody gathers together at one time. So if there's 30 or 40 of us, and no matter what we're doing, for an hour or two, we get together at one point, all of us together, and we sit, we listen to guest speaker or whatever, and we might have some polite discussions, and then we go our own ways for the rest of the weekend. Everybody really liked the idea, and we thought it was a way to finally start filling some of these gaps and kind of bond some things. Back then, the guest speakers spoke on Fridays. That particular rendezvous, I believe, was the historical law enforcement group, the Arizona Rangers, similar to the Texas Rangers. They came out, the Apache Junction company gave a little bit of a talk, and then Jack San Felice did his thing. Night 2, I believe it was Tom Wilson, who wrote Cracking the Golden Egg, got up and spoke for a while at the campfire, and I believe it was former State Attorney General Bob Corbin. And that's how the rendezvous ran. Now, Joe and Carolyn always kind of had food and stuff. Other people brought up stuff and contributed, and they had stew. They had a stew they always cooked up, and garlic bread and all, and it was really good for years. And then Joe's health, Joe wasn't able to make it every year. So what Randy and I decided to do, we wanted to kind of keep things free and evolving, and we wanted the people that just kind of come up and show up and hang out. So what we did was Randy took Friday night making up a thing of goulash for everybody, and then I would make chili on Saturday night. We moved the guest speakers to Saturday night so everybody didn't have to leave work and rush out Friday nights and all kind of burned out and tired. Come in, they could come a little earlier, and Saturday we seemed a much more free day. And so we kind of started to work that there. We also had hikes. I think the very first hike, Jack Carlson took a group up to the Miller Mines up in Barks Canyon area. So through Barkley Basin. So we had these different things, and it was never like you have to go on the hike or you have to do this. We did tours of the quarter circle probably at least a half a dozen times, where Jack Carlson and other people would show us and talk about processing cattle and how the ranch would work, a little bit of history of the ranch and different things. We went to some various different Indian ruins. We went to the crematory, which I think I spoke on one of these. So we did different things. There was sometimes we took just kind of a search in and a couple mines we'd heard about, and we kind of did our own little thing of looking for where these mines or something might be. So we always had different visits, different trips, different things planned for Saturdays, guest speakers Saturday nights. Friday night was kind of a chill night, and it kind of kept evolving. I think we had, at one year, we had close to 150 people show up. Gus Barkley, Tex Barkley's granddaughter, and her husband, Ken and Nancy McCullough, actually showed up one year and spent time with us, and actually went out to the Quarter Circle U, where she spent time as a child and playing cards with her grandfather, Tex Barkley. And she came out to see me, and we got to sit and talk. Her and Ken were really wonderful people. And it was kind of nice because we got to see quite a flow. Our guest speakers over the year have been Bob Shoes, Ron Feldman, Clay Wurst, Jack Sanfelice, Thomas Glover. I can't think of the end of the line. Brian McDonough came out. Bob Kesselring came out and talked one year. Rick Gwynn came out and got up and spoke. Greg Davis got up. I spoke at one time one year. It's just been literally most all the authors that you've heard of or spoken of. I think the only gentleman we never had as a guest speaker, and he just told me maybe one year he would get up and talk for a little bit, but he never felt comfortable with it. He enjoyed actually coming and showing up and spending time with us more than anything else, was Tom Collenborn. Tom came up to camp. He would hang in camp. He would sit around and talk with us down by Joe's camp, or he came down, and after, when Joe and Carolyn weren't coming, he'd hang with me and Frank up there and stuff. And it was always pleasant, and there was never a pressure. I loved the year. I think it was probably the 4th or 5th rendezvous. Clay Wurst came down and spent probably close to 3 hours sitting around the campfire talking, kind of a stream of consciousness about his life. Very different talk than I've heard him give before. And that was wonderful, as it was just kind of personal experience, uninterrupted, as he just kind of went through things, and it started with him as a young boy and going through his life. So that was, Ice Cold Gold Group. I'm Jesse and Josh Feldman, and then me, Eric Deleel, and Frank Augustine had a Q&A one year on a Friday night, and then we had guest speakers on Saturday. So it's always been everything. Now this year, obviously, it's different. Why? We have COVID-19. The rendezvous, there's no reason the rendezvous can't happen. It's an open space, very open campground. The thing is, we can't meet in the large ramada if COVID-19 is still social distancing. We're still under the mask thing. So the best thing we've come up, Greg Davis and myself have talked about it and decided there is an amphitheater there that would hold 1,000 people. And we don't need that much space, but it allows everybody that's camping and spaced out to come together, but not be on top of each other. We'd be able to sit there. So nowadays, the original rendezvous, we actually used Coleman lanterns and then the fire pit to light the place. We actually use some LED lights now, and we actually have a wireless microphone system. So everybody will be able to hear the guest speakers, and it'll be much more open space. It's something we probably will do this year because of the COVID-19. So the big thing is probably everybody does their own cooking. If you're going to bring in food, bring in your own food. We'll probably still kind of do the raffle and that kind of thing and whatnot. But the gatherings will be kept a little more social distancing. We can sit up around the fires and stuff. But and of course the fireball will be different, because I guess if we're going to pass the fireball, we have to bring our own cups this year and glasses. Because that's probably not like the Mountain Man way. Yeah, maybe we have to jump that. And that's all depending on everything, where everything goes. But I would think we're not going to be fully in these recovered. It's all way behind us in the next 2 to 3 months. So I would think that's where we're going to be at. But we are planning to move forward and so forth. We don't expect much of a crowd this year because of COVID and all the other issues and problems. Myself, Trevor, Frank Augustine, Greg Davis, there will be a group of us there no matter what to carry things through. So we get the 16th year, and as things recover, then we get to the 17th year. It's about the rendezvous continuing existing on. There's been years, like I said, 150 people. There's years there's 30, 40, 50 people. We know it can be the economy. It can be so many things that come into play. So that's a bit about the history of the rendezvous. I know I've covered it in kind of some other things in open live discussions before, but I wanted to really kind of cover it here. Now, if you want further information, the rendezvous, how to get there and everything, check out the link because that'll take you to the video. We did a Legend of the Superstition Mountains episode where Frank and I drove in, so we'll get through there. So check out that link and then get on over there, and when you catch that episode there, you'll be all right. So thanks for joining us about the rendezvous. We hope to see you there. If we don't, then kind of tune back in, because we'll kind of do some sort of wrap up and stuff about the events of it after that, okay? So thanks for tuning in, Chasing Legends. Hit represent.com, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thank you. I'm Wayne Tuttle, and we'll catch you next time.